Hey guys, it's Key here from KegLand. Today I'm just going to talk to you about these little mini kegs. Now mini kegs have been around for ages, but we were very reluctant to get into mini kegs because the ones that we did try out, we felt the quality wasn't quite up to it. And although they looked really great and they were nice and cute, I guess, and they definitely serve a purpose in having a really mini small keg which you can take to the park or take to the beach or take to a barbecue or an event and dispense some beer from, we felt that there were some parts of the quality which really weren't fantastic. So we decided that we'd go out and make our own mini kegs instead. There are a few different suppliers in China, I guess, and most of them are making them very similar way. Basically, the bottom half of the keg is deep drawn, and then they weld the top on. So you get a weld, basically they TIG weld the top on like this, and then just do a round weld there, and they do a weld around the top to weld this threaded neck on. The problem with that is the only other competitors which are making them are welding from the outside of the keg in, which means they've got the blind side of the weld on the inside of the keg. And that's always a really difficult position to be in when you're welding, because if you're welding from the outside in and you're making a vessel like this, it's impossible to then get in the inside and grind the inside and clean up the weld. So you end up with some pretty messy welds and ones that you can't have finished in a sanitary way. So that's the big problem. The other thing is with these mini kegs, they have quite a small opening at the top. So if you unscrew the threaded neck here, you can see the opening here is only about 25 to 30 mil. So that's a really, really small opening to get inside and weld internally from the inside of the keg. So yeah, we had to have some special machinery, special welding head made up, which essentially goes inside the keg and it welds internally, and a robot actually goes around the inside of the keg and welds from the inside out. So it does both this weld at the top here, and the welds across the seam at the top of the cylindrical part of the keg, and also this weld down the bottom. All is done from the inside out. So our mini kegs are made a little bit different, but it becomes more obvious once you start to chop the kegs open. So I've got a couple examples here, and you can see the difference. We've got our mini keg on this side, and we've got another different competitor's mini keg on this side. And when you look at the welds internally, you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, so now you can see the two kegs, or these four kegs, chopped in half. We've got on the left-hand side the KegLand mini kegs, which have had the full acid bath pacification inside and out. And on the right-hand side, these are the kegs which had that sort of brushed stainless steel finish. This is of a competitor's keg, I guess. Like going from the top down, I think the first thing you'll notice is how well the internals are finished. So if you look at the neck of these are welded internally right here. So it leaves a seamless finish, and actually there's no fissures or little cracks for it to get into in the neck. However, on this one here, you can actually sort of see on this image here, there's a little sort of fissure here that's virtually impossible to clean. So this is going to be a sanitary risk. If you just rinse this out with sanitizer, the sanitizer will probably get most places, but it may not get into this deep little fissure here. And yeah, around the neck there, it's going to be very hard to sanitize properly. So you might find it could be a cause for infection in this type of keg. Probably the thing that you most most easily see is really the difference in the welding though. So you see on the left, ours have a really nice weld across here. If you look sort of closely there, you can see it's really perfect. There's no weld seam whatsoever. But on this keg, yeah, you can see, because it was the blind side of the weld, you get these sort of burn marks and welding splatter, which end up on the inside of the keg, and it's really, really hard to avoid that when you've got a blind side of the weld. So look, I would say they've probably done a good job, all things considered, but the reality is it's still not really what we would sell as a sanitary weld, and definitely not a sanitary product in our opinion. So it's unfortunate that most people buy these kegs, have no idea until maybe a few years down the track, and then some spots like this might start to cause an issue. On this smaller one, look, this one's a little bit better actually. This is not too bad, but they've still got the burn marks here. So often these sort of black burn marks, the blackness is often from chrome oxide. So the chrome, which is in part of the stainless steel alloy, will start to burn and go black like this. One of the other problems is, I guess, when you don't use a full acid bath pacification, this type of overheating also and splatter will bring a lot of surface iron to the surface of the weld, and then that can end up rusting as well. So that can be a bit of a pain. If maybe they've done some type of pacification, but it definitely hasn't been an aggressive pacification, because we can still see this discoloration here quite clearly. But that's pretty much it for the inside of the keg.
Now the other thing is, on the outside of the mini kegs, you'll notice the finish is a bit different too, and that's because we use acid bath electrolysis. So that's a type of pacification whereby it's an aggressive pacification where it removes any of the surface iron and basically makes the stainless more stainless essentially. So it gives it its stainless property, so it's non-reactive. Yeah, the other competitors on the market will just have a brushed finish, and then that can end up sometimes giving you some rust, even though sometimes I have seen some competitors just use pickling paste to pickle the outside. It's not quite as good as really the gold standard. The only thing is, yeah, you do notice you lose a little bit of the luster. So when you do acid bath electrolysis, you end up with this slightly dullish kind of touch to it, while if you just brush the stainless like this, it might look nice when you first get it, but after some time you may get a little bit of surface rust or something like that on this type of keg. So look, that's the main difference between our kegs and the other ones on the market. Yeah, I'm sure if you buy one of ours and use it, you'll love it. They're really, really handy, great to take to parties or events, and definitely really useful if you want a keg which can fit inside an esky or a cooler box. One little small one like this will really be awesome for you. Anyway, thanks guys. Got any other questions, please just send us an email. Otherwise, yeah, subscribe to our video, our YouTube channel, or our Facebook group. And yeah, definitely don't hesitate to call us or send us an email anytime. Thanks. Bye.